Welcome to the Pampered Thoughts podcast, where we are inspiring and encouraging women to love themselves as they are without shame or guilt, focusing on topics such as self-love, marriage and family, balance in life and business, and all things woman. Every week, we'll share inspirational topics that focus on helping you to overcome your struggles and limitations with lack of identity, low self-esteem, self-love, confidence, and so much more. I'm your host, Veronica Scurry, a wife, mom, speaker, entrepreneur, and more importantly, a daughter of the King. Hey, y'all. Welcome to today's episode. I hope y'all had a grand and pampered week. I had a great week and I'm having a great day because today is a special day. We're having our first guest. I told y'all a couple episodes ago and actually last week that we're going to start having more interviews and sister girl chat so that you can get to meet some of the women in my life. And then I may find experts in certain areas that can help with empowering and speaking to the needs and the hurts of the things that we go through. So I'm super excited about today's episode. If you are listening now, if you're new to the Pampered Thoughts podcast, welcome to my humble abode. If you are part of the Pampered Princess family, thanks for chilling with us today. It means so much to me. Also, for those of you that have listened to the podcast, that have shared, subscribed, viewed, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Today, the special guest that we have is my good friend, Latisha Anderson. Latisha is a wife. She's a mom to 3 boys, an entrepreneur. She and her husband, Kevin Anderson, they specialize in teaching people how to recognize dysfunction in their lives through their business, LLAnderson Coaching. She's also the founder and CEO of Embrace Your Ugly, a nonprofit organization that impacts globally the mindsets of people they come in contact with. And so before I bring Latisha on, I want to say that I'm glad to have her on, which I've already said that. But the reason why is because today we're going to be talking about accountability. And we're talking about accountability because I feel that going into this fourth quarter of the year, for us as entrepreneurs, we do a lot of our planning for the year ahead. And because we do a lot of planning, there's also some things in our personal life that we can plan too. And so I want to go ahead and welcome her on. Hey, Latisha, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you, Veronica?
I I'm doing great. As you can tell, I'm probably just cheesing because every time we get together, we always laugh and joke and have so much fun. But at the same time, we're still serious about business. We're still serious about being accountable to one another, to ourselves, and the things that we have going on. And did you have anything that you want to say in regards to how we met?
Well, hello, Pampered Princesses out there. It's so funny how we met because Veronica, I want to say, messaged me in Messenger about becoming a travel agent, pretty much. And so for a couple of months, it was kind of like phone tag, I guess, and then, or messenger tag. And then finally, we had a conversation. And in the midst of us having a conversation and deciding if I was going to go forward with the travel, somewhere up in there, Veronica said, I know that this is going to be deeper than travel. Like we were meant to like be together to hang out or something. She didn't say hang out. She said, but she know this is deeper than travel. And sure enough, she was right. Here we are, what, 3, 4 years later?
Yes, it's about, yeah, I think it's going on 4 years maybe. But it's so funny because when we actually met, actually I had seen her face on Facebook for a good little while, but I knew that I noticed her face from where we lived. And I never talked to her, never really knew her in that way, but I still do have a travel business. And at that time, I was looking to have more partners in the business. And so when I reached out to her, we actually ended up connecting for her first annual Embrace Your Ugly cruise. She reached out to me after I had reached out to her about the business aspect of it. And she was like, well, I don't want to do the business. I just want you to do the cruise for me. I said, okay. you can earn the money yourself if but upon us actually planning and working together to get her Embrace Your Ugly cruise together, it was just something I felt like, I don't know what it is, but I do feel like we are going to be working for something much bigger than travel. It's not, we didn't just connect for travel, and we have now, like she said, have been about 3 or 4 years knowing each other. And the way that our relationship and partnership has blossomed into a full blown friendship has been amazing. Just how the Father has really connected us, just lives have just intertwined. It's good to have friends like that. So last week when I told y'all that I had a good friend that helped me through kind of a rough time last week, yeah, that week before, that was her. So, but so, so she can find the positive in everything, and I love that because it just goes to show that sometimes you need that person that can help you with understanding and like what you've heard so far? Great. Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you so much for your support. Now back to the show. With us talking about accountability today, we decided that was it last year? I think we decided that we would be accountable to or become accountability partners.
I want to say it was more so the of 2018 and going into 2019 because we had started it. It was just on a different level.
Yeah, yeah. And that's true when you think about it. What actually happened was the beginning of 2019, my father passed, and I just kind of went into a cocoon. And I just helped with my father, and my whole focus was just strictly on making sure my father was okay. And once he passed, it was just kind of a time of grieving for me. And so she would reach out to me every now and then and be like, "Hey sis, what's going on? How you doing?" And she would give me that space to vent. And it started off where she was just encouraging me, allowing me to vent about things that had been going on and things that I was struggling with. And I ended up getting into coaching, feeling like the Father was leading me into helping women. She was already doing it, and she reached out, or I reached out to her in one of our conversations. I can't remember who reached out to who, and she was like, "Well, you're gonna need to do this, you're gonna need to do that." I was like, "Oh, well, I got my business name, I got this, and I already done started taking my She was like, "Well, Veronica, you already got everything. Let's go ahead and do it." And so we end up here, me still learning from her and gleaning from her, and the way our accountability has worked with each other has just been amazing because I've been able to see both of our businesses really take off. One question I really wanted to kind of talk about or really kind of get your view and point on is, how do you know when you have the right accountability partner? Because it's almost like our accountability, it just kind of turned into that. So what do you think about that?
Well, honestly, I think you don't necessarily go out looking for an accountability partner. Like, I don't think that's something that you can honestly and wholeheartedly search for because you're going to always look in the most common places versus the most uncommon places. So, when you're seeking somebody to be an accountability partner, most people are going to look to their best friends or family members of somebody that they've known a long time that kind of sort of push you, but still kind of let you do whatever versus when you're looking for somebody to hold you truly accountable, that means that they have the opportunity to learn you on a whole different level. So, where your BFFs or your closest family members and friends may know you on one particular level, this person comes in and sees you completely different. They see where you're going, they've seen you already access it or attain the very things that you've been speaking about. So, for me, I wasn't out in
Mm,
these streets looking for an accountability partner. It's just that once me and Veronica really started like communicating and talking, because if we're honest, it really started in like 2018. We
yeah.
had some of the same common goals. She wanted her business to go to another level. I wanted my business to go to another level. And so we started literally calling each other. It was Sundays, Wednesdays, and
Mhm.
Fridays. And anything I learned, I took to Veronica and was like, hey, this is what I figured out, sis, blah, 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 blah. And anything she learned, she was like, hey, I got this. And then we realized that my strength was a lot of things that she wasn't strong in, and her
Mhm.
strength was a lot of things that I wasn't strong in. So it was always like the yin and the yang, but we knew how to communicate and articulate to each other to where it wasn't to tear each other down, but whatever the strength was, whichever one of us was strongest in that area, that's what we lended a hand to the other person. That in turn became accountability because it teaches you to be accountable to yourself first. Because at some point it's like, man, I want to make sure I got this done because I don't want Veronica over here doing all this work and I ain't done nothing, you know? And, and
Yeah,
then after a
yeah.
while, you grow into making
Mhm.
sure that this is right for you. You become accountable to yourself. And so as the years went on, even as she spoke about earlier when her father passed away, a true accountability partner or someone that you connect with, they respect that moment and they know that me telling you to get up and do this work and blah blah blah, that makes no sense
Yeah, that's true.
because you can't focus and or function when you're not totally mentally there. You have to give people time to grieve, be it loss, be it the loss of a job, the change of relationships, whatever it is. You still have to give that person time
Mhm.
to have their moment. So when they're ready to come back, now sometimes everybody don't know when they're ready to come back,
Mhm.
and you kind of have to push them. But for the most part, most people, you just have to give them that time to heal. And so our accountability has evolved dramatically. It matured
It has.
because you respect each other in their rightful place. Like I don't put her in the category as like a BFF or anything like when I say sister, to me, that's like that's deep.
It
And a
is.
lot of people like, hey sis, I love you sis, or see you later sis, and people lose use that term so loosely. But
Mhm.
when you honestly think about it, there's a common bond there. For someone to be my sister, we have the same parents or the same mom or the same dad. So if both of us are believers, for her to be my sister, we have to have a common bond. And if we believe that Yah is our father, then that's our common bond. And so now you have to find where you're at, the root of your source, so that way you understand the approach to accountability and not the need for accountability.
Mm.
Because if you have a need for it, you'll yield it to anybody.
That's so true. And when you think about how our relationship has kind of grown over the time, we didn't know really what it was going to turn into, but
Nope.
just in just in our time of just really kind of playing off of each other and talking to each other and just really like you said having those same goals and desires to want to for our business to grow. And when we really I feel got more serious or more focused was when it was time for me to go back to work. And when I reached out, I mean,
Mm.
I started work before and I lost really all drive to even really do the business. And that was actually one of our breaks too. After everything happened with my dad, when everything happened with the quarantine and COVID and me being furloughed, I was like, I'm going to start my business again. And the day I said that, I got a call back for me to start that next week. And I was like, okay, no, And the first person that came to mind for me to call about holding me accountable was Latisha because we had built that relationship and I knew that this was gonna be somebody that would keep me accountable, that would help me with me starting work again. You were gonna be that person that was gonna help me to be accountable. And so you were the first person that I called and I told you, I said, hey sis, so when you talk about that sis, like it really is true. It's on a deeper level.
Right.
And I don't just call anybody sis because sometimes we call people sis and we don't even have no relationship with them at all. You might see them along the road or on social media, hey sis, but no, it's almost like the friendships. You have to begin to prove friendships. A lot of times we tack on friend to any and everybody and we call on, oh yeah, that's my friend from so and so, or that's my friend from this. I've learned the hard way to not just call anybody friend anymore. Like you'll be an associate or acquaintance, but when
Just
it comes
somebody
to
I know.
friend,
Like, I
Exactly,
just know you.
exactly,
You don't have to have a title. I
exactly.
just know you.
Exactly. And that's the way our friendship actually kind of built to that cis point, because it's like we've been there with each other in those crying times and those times where it's like
Mhm.
it wasn't even about business, but just being help to one another. When I called her, I said, "All right, sis, listen, you gonna have to hold me accountable, because this is not finna go right if I don't get accountable." And so I think another thing that we have to look at too with the accountability is like how you said, I'm not gonna have Veronica doing all this work and I'm not doing nothing. When we have an accountability partner, it has to be somebody who will be accountable to themselves, because there is a difference in responsibility and accountability. Like,
Mm,
for example, we both have businesses, right? You're the founder of LLAnderson Coaching. You're the founder of your nonprofit, Embrace Your Ugly. I'm the founder of Veronica Scurry of True Image Inspire and the Pampered Thoughts. So we are responsible for these businesses, right? Any decisions that are made, anything that we have to do as it relates to the businesses or whatever, we're responsible for that. So now, accountability, we may have somebody on our team. Like, for example, we've been trying to find virtual assistants. And so
yes.
we plan to make them accountable for some things in our business, but they will never be responsible for our business. Like,
Mm,
they're not going to have the same level of responsibility that we will have. When you have an accountability partner, like I'll say, and I'm because we're talking about us, just use our our relationship as an example. We don't hold each other responsible. We hold each other responsible, but we do it in regard to the accountability aspect of it. Meaning, okay, like for example, Tisha is one who will get out and she'll jump out and she'll go and she'll figure things out later. Me, on the other hand, I got to plan, I got to research, I got to make sure I know what's going on at this time, because when this happened, I need to know that's going to happen. And so I'm like planning, and she will have me be responsible to myself and say, okay, Veronica, you done did this. You got everything you need. Let's go ahead and go. Me, on the other hand, she's done said to me, man, you making me read these
mm.
worksheets and you making me
These
read all
rules
this
and
stuff.
regulations.
And so we hold each other accountable to our own responsibility, because I will never be responsible for LL Anderson Coaching. I'll never be responsible for Embrace Your Ugly. That's her responsibility because her name is attached to it. So when you have an accountability partner, it's not going to be someone who's going to take the responsibility of what you have to do. So you have to have some type of a accountability to yourself in order for it to really work, right?
That's true. That's true. Like, you can't keep, I think sometimes because we've all been conditioned to dysfunction, that we believe accountability is somebody trying to make us do something that we know we should do. That's
Mm-hmm.
never going to be my position. If I'm going to be held accountable for something, if you're telling me that I'm coming in and I'm going to be held accountable to what you're choosing to do, then that means you got to first be able to hold yourself accountable. And so,
Mm-hmm.
like, accountability is the fact or condition of being accountable, responsibility. And so, how am I going to require someone to be accountable to me and I'm not even accountable to myself? That means,
Exactly.
in actuality, you're looking for somebody else to blame. If I'm telling you
Mm-hmm.
that I need to get up at 6 a.m. and I set the alarm and this, that, and the third, and me and Veronica, prime example, we were both saying we're going to get up early, right? So I set my alarm.
Yes.
Now, the accountability part of that is, okay, sis, if I text you, that's how we know if each other is awake. We'll text each other at like 5 o'clock. Good
Yep.
morning. If the other one don't respond at about 5:05, one of us is gonna
Mm-hmm.
call and say, "Hey sis, just trying to make sure that you're up." Blah blah blah. That's
Yep.
it. I can't make you want to. All I can do
Exactly.
is show you how to. And so when we became accountable on that level, Veronica didn't have to get up that early to prove anything to me. I didn't have to get up that early to prove anything to her. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're gonna want somebody to walk this line with you wholeheartedly, you got to be willing to walk the line with yourself. wholeheartedly. And you can't do that if you're wanting somebody else to do it for you. And that's a whole dysfunctional mindset right there, is that you don't want to be held accountable to yourself. You want to blame somebody else. Accountability is when you become accountable to you and you respect the views and opinions of somebody else, so you trust them enough to say, hey, these are my facts. This is the condition, and I just need you to make sure that I stand fast to this.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to leave you stuck.
Yeah, it's true because the thing about it is that an accountability partner is not your mom, they're not your dad. And even how you talked about, a lot of times we go to friends or family members or people who we know they may hold us accountable to some extent, but they're not going to push us and not going to go like really hold us accountable. Like you said,
Mhm.
I can show you how to, but I can't make you. You know what I'm saying? So we can lead a
Yep.
horse to water, but we can't make the horse drink. And that's the way it is that
Nope.
when we decided, I was like, okay, sis, I'm gonna wake up at 5 o'clock. So so when I wake up, I'm gonna spend my time in my prayer meditation, and then after that, I'm gonna go ahead and get ready for work because I'm working and building my business. So I knew that I needed to have that accountability because I knew that if I went back to work and I did not have Latisha to help keep me accountable to that waking up, like we said, if I don't hear back from you in 5 minutes, I'm gonna call you. And after she gives me that call or I give her that call, it's up to one of us to decide what we're gonna do.
And sometimes we fall back asleep. Like, it don't mean like,
Yes, yes, a couple of times with a
yeah, but you got to be honest enough to be like, sis, I fell back asleep. Okay. I'm just going to be honest. I just fell back asleep. It's okay.
It's true. It is so true. And the thing about it is that even though, and we set our time to, we said we would do Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday. So Sunday would be our planning day. Okay, sis, what we're gonna do this week? What you gonna do this week? You know,
Mhm.
Wednesday was our midweek checkup, and then Friday was okay. How do we do this week? We look at how did our
Yeah.
week go, what we completed, and then back to weekend spending time with family, going back onto Sunday. But now it's done kind of elevated because now sis is doing her morning drives, her lives on Facebook every Monday to Friday. And this is something that just kind of started out of just trying to build our businesses and trying to help with
Yep.
consistency. She started her morning drive. So now she has no choice. She can't go back to sleep. But it's been working for her business. And even with myself, I didn't have a podcast or even the thought of a podcast when we started working together. I was just going to continue focusing on my coaching and working with that, and it turned into a whole thing. And I think when you kind of play off of one another and you're both in tune as believers, praying and seeking the Father for direction for your business and for guidance and whatever you have to do, it's almost like he kind of uses both of you to guide the other person or to help the other person in the way he's leading them. And I've seen that with both of our businesses kind of evolve from that. When you speak about looking for somebody to blame or not holding yourself accountable, I don't believe any of that would have happened for either of us if we did not take it seriously.
Right. You have to be. It's like, when are you sick or tired of being sick and tired?
Mhm.
Yeah, I want Veronica doesn't have to get up with me that time of the morning. She don't have to be. When I started the Latisha Live, it was just me and Veronica. My husband was asleep. You know what I'm saying? Like, he got up, he set it up, and he went and laid back down. Like, he made sure the lights were right, and he went and laid back down. So the first couple of episodes, it was literally pretty much just me and Veronica. And I think my mom would turn it on, but I don't think she was awake. And so
Mhm.
that's the whole part too, about understanding what accountability is and what responsibility is. Because
Exactly.
I had to keep going regardless of who was on there, because I wasn't trying to do this for other people. I was doing
Mhm.
this for me. And when you
Exactly.
have somebody that you trust enough to hold accountable, and they're going to make sure that you are responsible in this thing, then you're not in competition with that person. Like there will
Exactly.
never be a day where I'm going to be like, oh, I mean, Veronica did 2 podcasts, and literally they were listening to her all the way in Australia, in Belgium, in Ireland from 2 podcasts. And here I'm doing Facebook Live, and I'm gradually getting up there. And it's kind of like one of those things. Why? Because you got to understand your lane, your purpose, what it is that you're desiring to do, and
Mm-hmm.
what's needed for that person. So a lot of people come on my lives for the now. They need it now. It may not always be the same people, but they need it now. But to have my accountability partner on there with me, both of us learning. So where we, like we said, where we started with our accountability calls, which were Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, now we literally have them almost every day of the week.
Exactly. It's like every day.
Because right after the live is over, now we're on the phone talking to each other, trying to figure out, okay, sis, did you hear this? What about this? And blah blah blah. And then you got to have somebody who's going to be an eye for you. So she
Yeah.
was able to count the numbers. She noticed the numbers going up. She was like, sis, this person was a new person. They haven't been on there. And then the business aspect of it is, that's when we both started trying to figure out, okay, how do I stay in connection with these people? What is something that I should do? And then we started intertwining each other's, like, our businesses. If I'm gonna shout out anybody's business, I'm gonna shout out Veronica's business. And from doing that, it allows people to say, hey, we can all be in this thing almost looking like we're doing the same thing, but we're not, because it's billions of people on this planet. I
Mm-hmm.
cannot reach all of them, and they are all not in my reaching distance. So if we come together collectively as a team, everybody who needs to be reached will be reached.
Yes. And even talking about that is that when it comes down to competition, it's so many women, because we're talking to women, feel like if I help this person, then they're going to steal my shine. And it doesn't work like that. And I love the fact that with our relationship, we're all about seeing women win. We don't care if you do the same thing as
What I
us.
say, sis, I'm a trendsetter, so it don't matter.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
I set trends out here, so it's more than one pair of jeans, even though they all look
Exactly.
exactly the same,
Exactly. They're different brands, different qualities, different everything, but
but
they
they're all
still look the
jeans.
same.
Yeah, you get what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Yeah.
Like,
And then people have different tastes too, because like
yep.
for you, for example, you're the one, you talk, you go, and I have to say you have more energy than me when it comes down to being on video and all of that. I consider myself to be more laid back until I get to meet somebody, and but we work together well, and we have that, like you said, that yin and yang, that
Right.
opposite type of attract, because it works for both of us. Whereas you're more vocal, where you're more able to reach people in the way that you speak or how you relate to people through video. I'm a writer, and my thoughts come out through writing. So somebody may want to read my book, somebody may want to read the blog. So it's really no competition, because everybody has different tastes. One may think you're over the top, one may say I'm too dull. So it's just all different type of women that can still be reached though. And so we didn't come into it where if she don't help me, I ain't gonna help her. And we want to both see each other win. And I think that's something that's very important, especially as women, how we compete so much. And it shouldn't be about competing. And that's in my last episode where I talked about comparison. When you're trying to compare yourself with other people, like if I was looking at Latisha in that competitive spirit, I would be like, man, her live growing, and I wouldn't even recognize what's going on with my podcast. I wouldn't even acknowledge the good things that are going on with my podcast, because I'm too busy trying to compare myself to Latisha. I'm never going to be Latisha. Latisha's never going to be me. We're good with that. We're okay with that. If we can get out of that mindset of having to compete with everybody or with the women that we're around, I do feel like the friendships will blossom. I feel like the accountability of each other will blossom, because it's like, I want to see you win just like I want to win. How can we help each other win? And I feel like that's kind of where our relationship has gone, because you're always sending me stuff in Messenger, and when I find something, hey sis, I found out how to do this, let's figure this out, because I'm more technical and understand a lot of things. So helping her with her
Child.
website, these are when you can play off of each other's, strengths and weaknesses, it really works out and it makes a good bond. So let me ask this, because this thought just came to me. Does a person actually really have to have an accountability partner? Do you think like somebody who has a really good friend that tells them the truth and really looks out for their back, do you think that that person could really be an accountability, or does someone have to have an accountability partner in order for them to actually progress?
No, I think when people think of accountability partners and stuff, I think we overthink it.
Mhm.
Really, you need what that is my husband supports me 100. No matter what it is I'm out here in these streets trying to do. He's 100% in this thing with me, okay? So,
Yes.
he does those things. But I think me as a female, I look to connect with somebody who can really relate to where I'm at in that moment.
Mhm.
So, like, yeah, I have best friends and we all started our journeys pretty much at the same time. But if somebody's lost their momentum
Yeah.
and they're choosing to kind of cease and desist, or their energy is slowing down, or we're going in separate directions, you're getting tired.
Mhm.
Like, I don't always know what to do. I didn't understand my website. I didn't know how to make the websites. I didn't know nothing about automations. So then Veronica comes along, and these are the things that she's good at.
Yeah.
So then she connects with me in that season, in that time, in that moment. We're for what we need to be in that moment. It does not mean that I don't have a support system.
Yep.
It just means that this person has something that I'm drawn to and that they're drawn to, and it's not toxic, because we're drawn to a lot of stuff.
That's true.
But you need something that's going to help you grow. And it's just like anything good in life. When you find something good that works for you,
Mhm.
that's the very thing you keep want to connect to. Why? Because it's giving you that push, that adrenaline, that drive. And when it's positive, when it's somebody like, hey, I can call and talk to you, I can bounce this off, bounce this off, and she could bounce off of me, then it just makes it so much more better. But again, if you're out seeking that, and when you catch yourself out seeking it, you're looking for something more. You have to just be honest with yourself. You're looking for this friend or somebody who's gonna take control, or gonna end up, because that's what responsibility is too. Is
Yep, that's
somebody
true.
taking control over someone. See,
Mhm.
no, ma'am. I'm going to be responsible for me. I'm going to have control over me. That's why I'm adamant, about mindset and everything, because I have to be empowered. Veronica comes as encouragement. Veronica
Exactly.
comes as that person that say, "Hey sis, you can do this, and let me show you a different way."
Exactly.
That's why you have to kind of look at it like that. Some of y'all, or some of us, will look for somebody to be responsible for us,
Yeah, that's true.
because you don't want to take control over your choices, your actions, your responses. You don't want no control over that. You want to blame other people. And you're not looking for an accountability partner. You're looking for a parent. You're looking for somebody to take control in areas of your life that you are 100% responsible for. So I don't think you have to have an accountability partner. I think that happens as you move forward. It be that one person, that's seeing you struggling and falling down, and they were there when you needed it. And then after a while, you gain this mutual respect for each other. So when that person is down, any person in their right mind is gonna be like, "Hey, this person was here when I needed them, so I'm gonna be there for them." But you respect each other enough to know that sometimes, even if we're going in separate directions, it does not mean that the time we spent together was fraudulent.
Yeah, that's true. That's so true.
So I think when people look for accountability, they don't know what it means. They looking for somebody else to hold responsible for their actions and to blame. Well, I mean, you were supposed to do this and you were supposed to be doing that. No, 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 no.
And I think too that actually comes into knowing exactly what you need, knowing who you are, because
Hmm.
I knew for me, even though I know I don't need an accountability partner, I knew that once I
Right.
started back working, I needed to have that accountability, because I was going to
Thank
be
you.
asleep. I was going to be just too tired to even do it. But because I had Latisha to call on and to have that accountability, I knew that that was going to help me. And so it's like now it's not hard for us to get up now. It's like we waking up early on the days we don't have to, because we've been at this thing like full force
Nope.
since June 22nd, I think. So, I mean, like
Oh my God.
we've really kind of grown into
June.
this even
Yes.
more. And I knew for myself. So it's important that we know what it is we're actually really looking for.
Yeah. You like I knew I needed somebody to help me stay organized. Like
Mhm.
I knew that.
Yeah.
And so my husband, he's my husband. So yeah, he could say it, but I'm gonna be like, you don't even understand. You know what I'm saying? So then I
Yeah.
have to have somebody else that's gonna be like, sis, now you know this drunk everywhere. So what we doing first, Tisha? Because remember, I'm the one that, hey, let's go. And we gonna figure out all the rules when we get out there. And so my husband, he'll go with me and he'll suddenly start to do some stuff because that's his thing. He's the provider. But
Yeah.
then Veronica over there reading these instructions and she is like, sis, what you have to do is, and then if you have to be honest with yourself, because I'm the one that'll hear the first two instructions. I ain't listening to nothing else, and I think I got it. And she like, sis, but it can do more if you just do three, four, and five. So you have to know yourself. You gotta. That's the
Exactly.
responsibility of knowing you and yourself and your truth, because I gotta know why she there.
That's important.
Yeah, I gotta know what she helping me with. She helping me with these rules and regulations because I'm just making my own.
Is okay. It's so true though. You have to know what it is you're looking for, because if you are just wanting somebody just to, like you said, just try to, well, you were supposed to help me with this or you were supposed to help me with that. No, you're not taking responsibility for what it is you're supposed to be doing. And if you have a business or even in your personal life, maybe you might be trying to lose weight. Maybe you might be trying to be more organized at home. It doesn't necessarily have to be business. It just worked out because we became friends who both had businesses who wanted to actually really have our businesses succeed. So because of that, it's like, all right, this is how we're going to work this out. It doesn't matter, like I said, it could be you want to have health, lose weight, you might want to be more organized at home. You might want to find balance on how to manage your life and your business. That's the thing that you have to look at, is know what it is exactly that this person is going to help you with and how they're going to be able to help you. Because if you don't know what you're having to be responsible for, you don't know how they're going to help you. And so it's going to be a flop. Yeah, and I've had a few flopped accountability partners where it's like I've pushed them into doing things and they've gotten things done, and then I'm like here like do, 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 do. But at that time I really didn't know what it is I actually was supposed to be doing. I knew what I was supposed to be doing, but I wasn't sure, and I was struggling at that time with identity and struggling with self-esteem, struggling with these personal issues that were going on to where I didn't do some of the things I said that I was going to do. So that partnership and that accountability, it didn't work because I knew that I could push people and I could encourage people and I could get them moving into what it is they're supposed to do, what they feel like they were going for. But for me at that time, I was struggling. And so it didn't work out. It wasn't. But now that I'm over those things and now that I'm discovering myself and learning my purpose and building myself up, now it's like, okay, I know what I want. I know where I'm supposed to be going. So it makes a big difference. And it's very important that if you know what you're supposed to be doing, you may not necessarily, like you said, need an accountability partner. You may have just that support system that can help push you when you need it. You may be someone who's very disciplined, but I knew once I started work, I was gonna be sleeping. So, but yeah. So, Latisha, I want to thank you so much for joining me as my first guest. You already knew you was gonna be the first guest, child. So,
I'm all
we
excited
don't
and
been
crunk
through
about
too
it. Yes,
much.
it's like we ready,
I
honey. We out
know
here in
it
these
was.
global streets.
Yes, yes. And so I want you to just really let the ladies know, for all of you that are listening, the Pampered Princesses. If y'all haven't became a Pampered Princess, though, definitely go to the website, pamperedthoughts.com, and sign up to be a Pampered Princess. I really do want, I want you, Letitia, to talk about your coaching, your business, how let the people know how they can find you.
Hello, Pampered Princesses. Okay, so you can find me at at LLAnderson.org or LatishaAnderson.org. Also, you can join our lives on Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. on Latisha Anderson or LL Anderson Coaching on Facebook. Because we talk about mindset, and mindset is everything. That's what I talk about, that's what I deal with. And you have to understand that in order to change your life, you must be first willing to change your mindset. That has to be intentional. You are the only person that can do that. And so with us specializing in that, understanding dysfunction, understanding how to expose it, dismantle it, destroy it, kill it, it's a step-by-step process. So we teach you the four pillars of mindset. We teach you how to move forward and evolve. And we also offer what we call connection calls, which are complimentary sessions. And you can again schedule your connection call at latishaanderson.org or LLanderson.org, and we will connect with you. We will help you come up with a plan. We have a Mindset Matters 7-week online course, self-paced, for simply $99. That's it. It's not $99 a week. It's one rate, $99, and you can walk through the process on your own, how you want to do it. But we're always about the empowerment. Empowerment is that you become
Mm-hmm.
stronger and more confident, gaining control over your life and claiming your rights. And if what you're doing is not allowing
Mm-hmm.
you to be empowered, honey, you still a slave on the plantation. I'm gonna need you to get that together. So you can also call me at 863-397-2912 or 909-443-4581. Again, we're always here to make sure that we not only encourage you, but we empower
Yes. So thanks again, Latisha. I'm This is my sis, y'all. I'm
you.
trying to
I'm so
tell y'all.
excited.
We've been hanging. I know, right? We've been hanging through thick and
Yeah.
thin, and like she's really proven herself to be a true friend, to be that true accountability partner, and somebody who's really just I mean, she cares for people. And so that's why I really wanted to have her on, because I see her heart for people. I see her heart for those who are dealing with issues in their life. I mean, I've been gleaning a lot from her since we've connected, and I mean vice versa, you know. So
Yes.
I'm really glad she was able to be on, and y'all go and check her out. I'll leave her information in the description box so that you can go and click on the links, go and follow her page, go and just really support her and find out more. Even if you want to have her services, go and reach out to her, because she really does have a heart for helping people, and she's helped me. So I know she works, because she see things that I don't see. She turns things around, and it's like, oh, okay, I get it, you know. So, so definitely go and check her out. I hope you all enjoyed today's show, and so until next time, you're gonna say it with me, Tisha. Stay pampered.
Stay pampered. I was like, are we saying this together?
Okay.
I love it. I was like,
All
wait,
right,
what?
so let's say it again. Until next time, say pampered.
Stay
All right.
pampered.
Thank y'all. Thanks for joining us this week on the Pampered Thoughts podcast. Be sure to visit us at www.pamperedthoughts.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, or RSS, so you'll never miss a show. You can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Pampered Thoughts, and on Twitter at I Am Pampered. As always, subscribe to the show to catch a new episode every week. And if you found value in the show, please leave a rating on iTunes and tell a friend about us. We want to continue to bring you the episodes you love. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, stay pampered.